listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Constituent Marking with Fred Long on Proof Text. And I'm Fred Long, and we're working through 1 Corinthians 12. We'll eventually get to 13 and 14. These are great chapters. So much information here to contemplate, so much revelation about the nature of the body of Christ, the way that God has put it together in a way for our maximum formation and benefit. I believe that God is optimizing our salvation. And that salvation consists of not just future reward and inheritance, as wonderful as that is, and a new heavens, new earth, but the salvation is being worked out in the present, in the wisdom of God, in the constitution and the arrangement of the body of believers in relation to one another. So I hope you're benefiting as I work through the Greek text. I'll read it, mark it up, try to explain that for those who are listening, can understand, visualize what I'm doing, and then translate it and discuss it. So we're in verse 25, and it begins with an ina me. So ina, whenever I see an ina, I'm going to put a bracket right in front of it. Bracket in this marking method indicates a subordinate clause. So ina is a connector. It is a conjunction, subordinating conjunction. And then it generally indicates purpose. There are different purpose constructions. I think ina is the main one that indicates kind of like the default. It takes a subjunctive verb. So whenever I see an ina, I tend to look for a subjunctive, which we have here. So the text reads ina me a with a circumflex and smooth breathing mark and a iota subscript. This is single underlined. The me is dotted boxed because it's an adverb. But a is from imi. It is third singular subjunctive form from the verb imi. Schisma, division. Schisma, single underline. Entosomati. Entosomati is parentheses around that. It's a prepositional phrase. And so altogether, this is the kind of the goal of something. So I would translate that in order that there would not be a schism, a division in the body. All right. So let's go back to verse 24. And basically what's happening is that Paul has argued in verse 24 that God has organized the body in a certain way, giving more honor to the weaker, lesser parts. And this has been done for a purpose. And that purpose is in order that there would not be division in the body. Schisma. But, he says in verse 25, going on, Allah receives a bak. So Allah to avto uper alelon merim nosi ta mele. Okay, so Allah receives a box around it. It is a correction. So rather than a schism, a division, the same uper alelon. Uper is a preposition with alelon, meaning on behalf of one another. And then we have merimnosin, which is from the verb meaning to care or have anxiety, care for. It's third plural subjunctive, present active subjunctive. So present active subjunctive. The subject is ta mele. Ta mele probably is the subject. Now, this is neuter plural, but it's agreeing with the verb in pluralness. So this is kind of interesting because we've been seeing that the third plural neuter can take a third singular verb, but here it actually is agreeing in number with the verb, perhaps because it's construing the members as a collective of individuals, so truly plural, not as a collective that is treated as a whole, but rather a collective as individual members that act individually in the plural. So each one of them is acting as a plurality. So I think there's probably a reason for that. So tamele is the subject, and this of caring. So the members would care. So that's what we have there at the end. Merim no si tamele. The members would care. Uper alelon, for each other, for one another, a reciprocal pronoun. To avto. To avto. Now, initially I single underlined it, but actually that is neuter and singular, and it could be nominative or accusative. Yeah, so nominative or accusative. And actually my pen just quit. So I'm going to see if I can double underline that with my finger. Yeah, so I've gone from my pen stylus to my finger. So bear with me as I trying to recenter that screen. But what's going on here is the to of to is almost functioning adverbally. But I think it's the direct object. So the members care the same. So this is, in fact, the direct object. They care the same for one another. Yeah. So as you're marking, sometimes you think, oh, well, that looks like it's a single underline. But then when you keep looking at the sentence, you can come back and add another line, which we did here. So that's actually the direct object. And the reason why I said, well, maybe we could take it as like an adverb or something like that is because you could translate this, they care for one another in the same way. And I think, I bet that's probably how translations do that. To avto, the same way, in the same way. So sometimes you have adjectives, and here avto is functioning like an adjective. It's actually from the pronoun avtos. And this is a particular use of avtos where it has the article in the front. And it when it does that, it actually means the sameness. And so as an adjective use, the accusative singular can be adverbial. So this happens with other adjectives like mikros. Adjective can go to mikron, and it can mean like a little time or something like that, shortly. So, we could debate whether to avto is literally, the same. So the members care for one another the same, or whether it kind of carries with it a little bit more of an adverbial sense in the same way. And this is really an English translational issue. I mean, in the Greek mind, they would have understood it, and they probably would have said, "Oh, yeah, that's an accusative. that's direct object for them," or something like that. In their conception, it makes perfectly good sense. When we take that into English, we want to translate that adverbially as something like "in the same way." Yeah. So this is the purpose of God's arrangement. His arrangement is that there would be no schism, no division in the body, but rather that the members, individually taken as a plurality, but of individuals such that the verb is plural in form, would care the same for one another. So that's God's wisdom in forming the body the way that he has. And so that's how I'd mark up this verse and translate it. All right, well, we'll see you next time. Hope you're finding this helpful, and take care.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.